Welcome everyone to the Northwest Geology Guy. This is Scott, and I'm going to be doing an earthquake update on a couple of hot spots that we've had some fairly good sized quakes with aftershocks. We're starting first down here just north of New Zealand in the Kermadec Island area, and we had a 6.0 strike at 17:06 UTC today. I'm sorry, 6:02 UTC, and it was actually only 16 kilometers deep, but this is a subduction zone here where the Pacific plate is subducting underneath the Australian plate, and it's a fast subducting zone. It goes from 60 millimeters a year to 90 millimeters of subduction a year. So there's always a lot of activity here. You'll see it. It starts all the way up here. Let me go out a little bit. It starts up here around Tonga and Samoa and comes all the way down into Australia. And there's, if any of you remember the large Christchurch quake, about I think 5 years ago, did a lot of damage down there. But this is a very seismic active area here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some more fairly good size aftershocks. We've had a 5.4, a 5.1, 4.9, 4.8, another 4.9. Those are pretty good aftershocks, for the size of them. I wouldn't be more surprised to see a little bit more here. I think there's been a little bit more lunging of the Pacific plate underneath there. That's why these are so close to the subduction zone. And let's get back out over here, go into China. And we've had a pretty good sized quake there too. We've had a 5.2, 5.8 is the main shock. And USGS tagged this red, and on the scale here we talked about last time, that's a pretty strong shaking going on down here. And it's kind of a mountainous region over here. And they're all relatively shallow quakes. Let's see if they all are 10. Yeah, so that's probably, they're just using the default 10 kilometers deep. But we've had the main shock of 5.8. We've had a 5.2. Another 5.2. 4.9. 4.9. And a 4.7. So it's almost in the same magnitude range as the New Zealand quakes down there. And this whole area here has been shaken pretty good. I haven't seen any reports yet. The news channels are too busy with their political backstabbing back and forth. But I'll try to keep an eye out and see if I can get a damage report here in China. Down here it didn't cause any damage, and I don't think anybody felt any of these. But let's go over here to the United States. This just popped off as I was starting. We had a 3.9 in South Texas, and it's only 5 kilometers deep. Let's see if anybody felt it. I can guarantee somebody felt it. It may still be a little early. Yeah, nobody's reported anything yet. But usually it takes a little while for the reports to come in unless it's kind of a major event. A lot of people feel a little bit of shaking, and it's like, whoa, was that a truck or train going by? But it usually takes a little while for the news to get around that it actually was a quake. Let's go back here. Okay. A little bit of swarming down here. A lot of microquakes in the LA region. We had a 2.2 up here in Budfish, California. 2.0 in Sandy Valley, Nevada. Little interesting quakes down here just northwest of Fresno. There's a 1.4, 2.7, I think it's probably the largest. One pointer and 1.2. Nothing super major, but it's just showing that there's stress building up. Every time you see quakes on here, it's just adding more and more stress to the fault line. Because I know a lot of people think, okay, good, that's releasing pressure, but it's really not. It's just adding more pressure onto the other areas. This is moved, but not enough to release any pressure. It just adds on to each side of the fault. So it's kind of normal down that area. The geysers are still popping off at the geothermal plant. Oregon looks good. Washington, we only have one quake here. Packwood a 0.08 at only 2 kilometers deep. But for a lot of you that don't know, in the summertime there will be a lot of shallow quakes, small quakes. That's usually movement on either the glaciers or small avalanches going off due to the warming temperatures and the melting of the snow. I look for a little bit deeper quakes in the volcanoes up here in the Cascades. If we're looking at maybe 5-6 kilometers deep, then I'm a little more concerned that there may be something brewing down underground in the magma chambers. But to me, that's more of surface activity. And that's the only one we got going on here in Washington today. Let's take another look around and see if there's anything else we're talking about. Alaska's it's got a lot of little microquakes and things. Nothing there. Little on the Aleutians, 4.1. There's always a lot of activity here on their subduction zone. I don't know if you guys know that on Good Friday of 1964, up here in Anchorage, we had a 9.2 subduction zone quake that just leveled everything up here. It was even felt as far away as Florida, which is, I think, around 6,000 miles away. But if you guys are ever interested to see what a subduction zone quake feels like, go to YouTube and Google the Great Alaskan Earthquake. It has some really good footage how ground subsided and uplifted around the coast. There was no deaths during the quake itself, but there was, I think, 15 or 150 deaths reported from the tsunamis. Not only did they get the tsunami from the Pacific, they also got it from the inlets here around here, where it splashed or it caused landslides, and like a bathtub splashing effect went back and forth, up and down. The evidence is killing the trees off high up on the mountain because of the salt water that intruded. Okay, let's see up here. Nothing in Russia. Europe looks pretty quiet. We only had a 4.7 in Iran. That's real common down there in between Iran and Iraq, up and down on that fault line there. That's a very active fault line for the Middle East. I'd say that's probably the most active in the Middle East. Everything looks quiet over here. Greece, Italy, Turkey. All the hot spots over here look good. Nothing out here on the coast. And you'll notice sometimes that quakes that start over here around Pakistan, India, they seem to all migrate up the fault lines over here into Greece, Italy, and then usually ending up here in around Spain. But that's a pretty quiet area today. There's not much going on over there. Nothing in Africa. We only had the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It was a 5.5. Over here in Puerto Rico area, let's zoom into that a little bit. There's always a lot of activity around here. It's a pretty active area. And I'm really surprised that after the big Haiti quake in Port-au-Prince, that we haven't seen more large quakes hit there at the Dominican Republic and Haiti. With all the activity here, that's just putting more pressure on the area. But thank God there hasn't been any more, because that was only a 7-point quake that just leveled everything. They have shoddy building going on over there, and it just collapsed everything. That's just another hot spot area here that you can almost always guarantee something's going on. And a little bit over here in the subduction zone of South America, 4.3. That's kind of a minor. This area here has a kind of a fast subducting zone too. Same with Colombia down here. That's why we see so many quakes down here in the Chile, Argentina area. There's always a lot of movement on here. This again is not like our Cascadia. It's not locked, so it's a free-flowing subduction zone. That's why there's so many quakes. If you come up here to Cascadia, you'll see quakes on either side of the subduction zone. A lot here on the backside, where we have the divergence center, where we're getting new seafloor added, and that spreads the plates in the opposite directions. Those we don't have to worry about, but when you start seeing quakes on the subduction zone itself, that means that there's been movement on there, and it might be ready to let loose. But we haven't seen any quakes on there for a really long time. Now let's look at Hawaii. There's always quakes going on the Big Island, but there's the big one here that I can guarantee is going to be around 35 kilometers deep. Let's get a look. About 31.4. And we got shallow one here as it moves towards the crater area. But out in here, that's where the quakes get deeper. And I still believe that the hot spot has moved offshore, no longer underneath the Big Island, but it's moved out here to Loihi Seamount. The new volcano is still about 300 feet under the surface. And this is where the subduction zone is, but it's still got a conduit feeding the Kilauea. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that up. I want to find the plumbing system for Mauna Loa. You know, is Mauna Loa going to be still active, or is that going to die off and become extinct? But I'll try to have that ready for my next update when we talk about this area. But pretty quiet area around the Ring of Fire, except for down here and over in China. China's really not in the Ring of Fire, but it's a pretty seismically active area, along with the subduction zones down here. I still kind of consider this the Ring of Fire through here. We've got Toba, here super volcanoes, a lot of subducting going on down here, so there's always a lot of quakes. But that's all I have for right now. I should have another video out tomorrow on my regular geology episodes, so I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope all you dads had a wonderful Father's Day yesterday. God bless, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.